What is going on, everyone? It is James, aka the Comic Raider, back again with another Pokemon unboxing. Or wait, no, this time we're actually doing a comic book. What? A Raiders Rants on comic books again? Are we back in like 2018, 2019 or something? But no, in all seriousness, I said in my last video, thanks for those of you who watched it, in my last Pokemon one, that I was going to get back into reading. And I said, sorry, I said that this is what I was going to read. Crossover trade back. I ended up going to the LCS today and picked up a couple more trades. So I got Something is Killing the Children and Department of Truth. So I decided, I just realized both of these are by James Tynion. I decided this one may be a simpler read. I was just totally guessing. I believe that I guessed right. I don't know. I will say that it was an easy read. But, so I went with that one. And I will say this. Let's go with poll question. Which one would you guys like to see next? Obviously, I'm going to read both either way, but we can do crossover or we can do Department of Truth. I will let you guys sound off in the comments below which one you guys want to see me do first. So, let's go ahead and get that out the way. And so we're going to get into this one. So I'm going to do this this way. I will do like a non-spoiler review for the first part of this video. And then, sorry, of course I go to make a video, now I start losing my voice. So, the first part will be non-spoilers. I'll just tell you a quick summary without giving too much away for those of you who haven't read it and need to be convinced. And then I'll do like a, not like a full review, we're not going to spend forever talking about the book, but just like a review, like I'll give more in-depth detail, maybe go over a couple of panels that you wouldn't necessarily want spoiled for you. And that's kind of how I'll do the format from now on. That way you kind of get both versions. You get the non-spoiler for those who just want to be enticed to read it, and then for those of you who have read it, we'll get a little more into detail and kind of talk about it. So, let's get into it. Something is Killing the Children, Volume 1 by James Tynion, the fourth. Art by Werther Dell'Edera and Miguel Muerto. I'm assuming is either the colorist or the letterer. Let's give him his, colored by Miguel Muerto. So, this is by Boom Studios. And we have got the little summary here. It's the monsters who should be afraid. When the children of Archer's Peak, a sleepy town in the heart of America, begin to go missing, everything seems hopeless. Most children never return, but the ones that do have terrible stories, impossible details of terrifying creatures that live in the shadows. Their only hope of finding and eliminating the threat is the arrival of a mysterious stranger, one who believes the children and claims to be the only one who sees what they can see. Her name is Erica Slaughter. She kills monsters. That is all she does. And she bears the cost because it must be done. So, this collects 1 through 5. And I will say that I'll just simply say you gotta get this. I understand why it is so hyped. I do have issue number 1 in raw form. I think I only have issue number 1. And I can see why it's hyped. I've obviously heard, it might be coming to TV, although everything kind of is that way right now. But it's really, really good. It's got the horror, the thriller, the suspense. It's got the emotion, because we're talking about literally killing children. And the art, is unique. But it does fit with the story really, really well. And of course, James Tynion, everything he writes seems to be gold. So, I will say it is a very easy read. It's not like super duper dialogue. It's very simple. You can just, go through and get the story. It's not like a whole ton of writing. And it moves quick. And I was able to knock this thing out. I mean, I didn't time myself, but pretty quickly. I just read the whole thing just real quick. And that was nice. That's kind of, back in the day I used to be a reader, and I'd read anything. Long story, short story, it didn't matter. Now, work and kids and all that kind of stuff. And so I don't really have time anymore, and that's kind of why I haven't been reading as much. So this was kind of perfect because it was just a very simple, easy read. But was still really, really good. So, as the back says, you've got these monsters that are killing these children in the woods. And you start off with a little story of one of the kids who's a survivor, and they're trying to figure out what happened. Of course, everyone's thinking that, like, did the kid murder the other kids? No one believes that there's actual monsters. And, of course, no one has seen the monster or reported a monster because only the kids see it. It kind of reminded me of DC Vertigo did a series called Imaginary Fiends. I read it, and I don't remember too much about it. I just remember that it was, like, kids, and it was their imaginary friends, but they were monsters. And, like, I think some were good and some were bad. But, again, only the kids could see these their own imaginary friends and everything. So it was kind of similar in that sense. You've got all these kids that see this monster, and none of the adults do, and so they're not going to really believe it. But when you have a whole bunch of kids that turn up missing, something's going on. And so I guess this is happening all over. I don't know if they've specified whether all over the world or all over, like, just the country right now. But that's where Erica comes in. And she is there to... I actually really liked this panel. Like, when it went from the opening story of the kid telling the cop what was going on and what happened, then it was like, boom. It was like a movie. Like how a movie starts with the opening and then bam, they show the title screen. But, yeah, so she's a badass. And so she's there to hunt the monsters. That's what she does, is go town to town wherever this is being reported, and she hunts them down and kills the monsters. And obviously there's much more backstory to it, but that's pretty much the simpleness. Obviously right now it's focusing on the one incident, and her in this one specific town. I will say, if I have to come up with a complaint, for me, at times, I don't know if I can find an example, but at times the panels were a little bit tough. Okay, so in this panel, you're going to read it all the way across, right? Left to right on the whole spread. And then on, like, a different page, it'll be regular, one page at a time. But I felt like it kind of jumped back and forth a few times, and I know that they try to do their best, like how this artwork is split right here, so that kind of gives you the hint that you're supposed to read across. But when it's jumping back and forth a little bit, and when the story's really, really good and you're just like kind of... I get zoned in. I'm focused on what I'm reading. So I'd catch myself a few times getting lost of, okay, am I supposed to go this way or that way? And maybe that's just a personal thing. Anybody else that's read it, obviously, put your 2 cents in and let me know. But that was kind of... And I think it was because I was so zoned in on what I was reading, because it's a great story, that then that kind of snaps you back out of it. And that part kind of sucks, because now you're trying to figure out, okay, which way am I supposed to read it? And if I'm being honest, I don't think I'm exaggerating. I mean, this is probably 3 or 4 times that it jumps like that. And I don't know. Like I said, could be a personal thing. Maybe they could have done a little bit different as far as to make it, like, even more obvious. Because when you're just going and going and going, it got kind of, it took me out of the zone, because then I had to sit here and figure out what was happening. But, yeah, that was really my only negative. Other than that, like I said, I think it's a great story. The artwork is really, really good. I'm trying not to show off, like, the action panels, but the art's really cool. you know, it's gory. You're gonna see blood and guts and stuff, and it's not like it's not like let's see, like Berserker level or Die Die Die. That was Image Comics, but it's not on that level. But it's a horror book. You know, it's gonna have some blood and some guts, and we're talking children too, so that's a little more intense. But yeah, no, I really highly recommend that you check this bad boy out. So that's my non-spoiler review. Pretty much, I can't really say anything else without giving it away. So definitely, the hype is real, and pick this up when you can. Obviously, the single issues are really expensive. If you can get this, then do it. I think it just came out this week, maybe last week. I don't know. $14.99. So that's, you know, pretty good price there. And you know, issue number 1 is gonna run you what, $100-200 or something like that. It's up to now. So obviously this is a easier way to go. So yeah, so that's gonna do it for the non-spoilers. So if you don't want any spoilers, then go ahead and tune out now. I appreciate you checking out the video, and I'm gonna spend a couple more minutes ranting about specific panels and stuff from here on out. Again, I'm not gonna spoil the whole thing. I just kind of want to discuss some panels and some stuff that if you've never read it, maybe you want to experience on your own. So thank you for tuning in, for you non-spoiler people. Now, for you spoiler people, I want to get into the art in particular, and like the first intro of the monster itself. The first like real intro is when Erica finally meets, well, actually the boy's name is James. She meets him and she gets his story of what happened. So you got a kid, his friend there, crawling with his guts hanging out, his intestines hanging out. And he's trying to carry him, and then he realizes, like, holy crap, he's half a body. Then you got other dude over here with no freaking arms. And let's see, he slips in blood. Then you got this one. This panel was crazy. One of the friends is calling for help, and he's like trying to say his name, and then you could see like this arm or something seems to have like pierced through his torso, and you're like, oh, what the hell? And then, I mean, talk about an introduction. That is freaking sick. So I thought that was badass. I thought that was a great way to like show off this creature and what exactly it is that we're dealing with here, that's killing kids and shit. Oh, that was so good. That was good. And that's why I wanted to put that at the spoiler part, because like you kind of want to experience that for yourself, like reading through, and then it's like boom, you're like, oh damn, there's that monster. There was another part I liked. This, like, he kind of heard it, but obviously being an adult, he can't see it. So I thought that was cool. I did like this other part when they were picking up the weapons, and I thought that the artwork was done really well. And then you have the next series of murder. You've got a girl running away. You can see like someone's freaking dead there on the bed. I mean, that looks like their spinal cord hanging out their back. Yeah, and then the Ouija board down here. And then she falls down the stairs, and you see her snapped wrist, bone hanging out and shit. So yeah, that was murder number 2. Thought that was cool. Oh yeah, so this is the scene I'm talking about, when they're buying the, she's buying the chainsaw, and then the kid's loading up the cart, and you can see we got like duct tape and pliers and all that kind of stuff, and the expression of the clerk's face is like, you look like a serial killer. But I thought that was done really well. Sorry. Thought that was done really well. The art and the writing working perfectly together to kind of build that suspense, and like the dude's just like, what the hell are you here to buy? What are you doing? But yeah, the only other thing that I really wanted to talk about was the ultimate reveal of the monster when she finally confronts it, and when she realizes what it is that they're dealing with. You know, she said it was a mother, so that there's babies around. So that means that obviously, you know, she's got a lot more hunting to do, and I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know how far they are in now. I know they're probably pretty decently through the series. Where is it? Okay, so she takes the gold, I don't know, whatever. She takes the gold knife thing, and she stabs dude in the head with it. And now it allows him to now see the creatures. But first, he sees like these people sitting at a table, like some secret society shit. And I did notice that they all have, that's a giraffe, shout out to Ross Russ. I did notice that they had, you know, stuffed animals in front of them, like how she has the octopus. And it was kind of like, okay, so she's been talking to this octopus throughout this series, and she's been talking to somebody on the phone, whoever her boss is or whatever. This is the only part that I'm like, okay, so they're building an extra layer of the story, but as this series drags on, like, is this gonna kind of ruin it? Is this gonna take over? Is this gonna drag on too long? Is this gonna kind of make it corny or cheesy or whatever? I have faith in James Tynion that it's not gonna be that, but that was my only, like, when I saw that, and I was kind of like, like, I was cool with just the monsters, you know, she's hunting the monsters, and, you know, if it's some secret society crap that's making her do it or whatever, you know, we'll find out. Obviously, they're way further into the series now, so those of you who are reading it weekly can, you know, well, obviously, you can't spoil it for me, but, you know, maybe you're hearing this and you're going, yep, you're wrong, buddy, it's actually done really well, which I'm hoping it is, but I would just say that was an early concern for me 5 issues in. But other than that, I mean, yeah, it's a hell of a series. I liked, like I said, I liked at the end when we're talking about, like, you know, she realizes, oh no, this was a mother, and there's kids, and I'm gonna have to hunt them all. And yeah, I am really excited for getting volume 2. I'll have to look at how far they end. I mean, I'm not gonna add it to my pull. I'm already too far behind, so I'll go ahead and collect it in trade form, and just kind of do these reviews as each trade comes out. But yeah, I loved it, absolutely loved it. I understand the hype, it's well deserved. Does it translate to a TV show? Yeah, probably. And I'll just have to keep reading more to see if my concerns about her bosses or her whoever's, you know, directing her, you know, does that take away from the story or add to the story? But artwork wise, monster wise, horror wise, writing wise, it's a great story, and definitely pick it up if you haven't already. If you have, you know, I mean, I want these comments popping. You know, this is my first time back with the comic book in, I don't know, 2 years, something, maybe a year and a half, I don't know, but hit your boy up in the comments, let's talk. You know, have you read it? Did this make you want to read it if you haven't? If you have, keep it spoiler free, but let me know what you thought. You know, did I capture it correctly? You know, do I have some great things to look forward to in volume 2 and 3? You know, and what are your thoughts on the series, on the video? And don't forget to vote for which one we're doing next, whether it be crossover or Department of Truth. Let me know what you guys want next. And till next time, thank you for tuning in. It's good to be back. Good to be back with some comic books. Obviously, I'm going to keep the Pokemon going, but, you know, we'll get back to comics too, I promise. So, thank you all for the support as always. Keep tuning in. Check out all our videos. Check us out on Instagram. For me, it's The Comic Raider. And till next time, stay safe out there, take care, and holla at your boy. Deuces.